Hello, I'm Sean Hellman, and today we're going to be talking about sharpening, and specifically sharpening on this scorp and hook knives in general, and I'll be focusing on one small aspect of sharpening. When I was teaching at Spoonfest this year, a lady came up to me with this scorp and she wanted to sharpen it, and I took one look at it and said, no, I'll take it home, I'll regrind it, I'll sharpen it, I'll send it back to you, because I didn't have the necessary tools in Edale to sharpen this scorp. Let me just tell you the problem with it, and this comes from the fact that when we take a flat sheet of steel like this, let's say we're making a giant hook knife out of this, and we curve the metal round. The metal on the inside of the hook will crown or dome over like that. So it's going to be higher in the middle than it is at the front edge and the back edge. And most people make their hook knives like this, and this just leads to a lot of issues when it comes to sharpening. Basically, very quickly, the bevel on your hook knife will be way too obtuse, and you'll be forcing a ruddy great big wedge through the wood. What we're really looking for on the edge of our hook knives is a bevel of about 25 degrees or so. I say about, and I cannot give you a firm answer to this because it depends on the material, the type of steel, and how hard the steel is as well as the type of wood you're using and your technique. Different people's techniques vary. So let's hone right in on this edge here. Yes. This is the, and if I measure it, it's very difficult to measure convex angles, incredibly difficult to measure them. Degrees, definitely 40 degrees plus or so. The tool here where the material will crown most in there is at least 25 degrees. And then we've got a massive great big bevel on the outside, so I think sort of 40 degrees is actually quite conservative here. It could mean more like a sort of 50-degree bevel, which is actually useless for cutting through wood. You try it and you'll just be putting so much strain through the tool. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be actually grinding out this crown on the inside, and I'll show you a couple of techniques about how to do this. The one I'm going to be using on here is with a small round stone in a pillar drill. Now that's actually grinding in the right position. So I don't know whether you can see these lines down here, but I'm going nearer the blade because, or the sharp edge, because that's where it's beveled most. So this is actually coming on very nicely now. You can see that there's really is quite a groove coming on in the middle. I've been grinding this for a little while, and I've been slowly adjusting the table up and down so I can hollow out across the whole width. If I didn't lower it up and down, I'd take so much out of the middle that the tool would become weak. The next step is I'm going to black out the middle so that when I come to sharpen it, I can see exactly where my tram lines are. And now for the slip. This is just silicon carbide wrapped around a dowel, and I'm going to be working on the inside, just carefully pulling the slip around, making sure that I've got contact on the front and the back, and you can see that the middle is still hollow because all the black marker pen is there. So I'll go round until all the black is removed from the front edge. Be really careful to make sure that you don't tip the slip back and forth, and you're maintaining good contact on the front and the back edge. The last thing we want to do is to round anything over, especially at the front. I've now used a round slip on the inside a few times down to 1000 grit, and now I'm going to be using this flat slip, and again I run along the edge rather than off the edge. You can run off the edge like this if you so want. I just find this is more natural, easier, and I get a better result and a more consistent bevel if I run it across the or along the edge like this. After stropping the outside, I use this power strop. This is just a round strop in a cordless drill. And this should be razor sharp now.